We live in a world where the word friend has lost its meaning. Social media has taught us to call hundreds, even thousands of people friends when in reality, most of them are just acquaintances or casual connections. But here's a truth that will shake you. Not everyone who smiles at you deserves access to the deepest parts of your life. Not everyone who calls you friend has earned the right to know your secrets. The Bible, with its profound wisdom, warns us repeatedly about the danger of misplaced trust. Proverbs 20:19 tells us, "A gossip betrays a confidence, so avoid anyone who talks too much." This is not a suggestion, it is a command. Today, we are going to examine 5 types of friends you must never, under any circumstances, trust with your secrets. Because sharing your heart with the wrong person is not just foolish, it is spiritually dangerous. It can destroy your reputation, sabotage your destiny, and open doors for the enemy to attack your life. God calls us to be wise, not naive. He calls us to discern, not to blindly trust everyone who shows us a friendly face. So let's dive deep into this biblical warning that could save your life, your ministry, and your future. 1. Never trust the friend who gossips about others to you. Let's start with the most obvious yet most ignored warning sign. If someone sits with you and freely shares other people's secrets, private struggles, and confidential information, you need to understand something crystal clear. They are doing the exact same thing with your information when you are not around. This is not speculation. This is biblical wisdom and simple logic. Proverbs 11:13 says, "A gossip betrays a confidence, but a trustworthy person keeps a secret." The gossip and the trustworthy person are presented as complete opposites. You cannot be both. A person either guards what is told to them in confidence or they spread it like wildfire. There is no middle ground. Many believers fall into this trap because the gossip makes them feel special. They approach you with that lowered voice, that conspiratorial tone, saying things like, "I'm only telling you this because I trust you," or "Please don't repeat this, but did you hear what happened to so and so?" And in that moment, you feel chosen. You feel like you are part of an inner circle. You feel important because someone is sharing insider information with you. But that feeling is a satanic deception. What you are actually witnessing is a person with no integrity, no loyalty, and no fear of God. They are showing you exactly who they are. They are demonstrating that they cannot be trusted. And if you ignore this red flag and proceed to share your own secrets with them, you have no one to blame but yourself when your private matters become public knowledge. The gossip operates with a specific pattern. They collect information like currency. They trade secrets to gain social advantage, to feel powerful, to manipulate situations, and to control narratives. When you tell them something personal, they are not listening as a friend. They are listening as a collector, already planning who they will tell next and how they will frame the story to make themselves look good. Proverbs 26:20 reveals the mechanism. Without wood, a fire goes out. Without a gossip, a quarrel dies down. The gossip is the fuel that keeps conflict alive. They are the ones who ensure that misunderstandings never get resolved, that wounds never heal, and that communities remain divided. And you want to trust this person with your secrets? You want to give them ammunition they will absolutely use against you when it benefits them? Wake up, protect yourself. When someone starts gossiping to you about others, do not engage. Do not nod along. Do not ask follow-up questions. Instead, stop them immediately. Say something like, "I don't think we should be discussing this," or "Have you talked to them directly about this?" Your response will do 2 things. First, it will protect your own spirit from the contamination of gossip. Second, it will send a clear message to that person that you are not a safe space for their toxic behavior. And here is the bonus. When they realize you will not participate in gossip, they will also realize you are not someone they can gossip about freely, because you have demonstrated that you operate by a different standard. Guard your ears just as carefully as you guard your mouth. What you allow yourself to hear shapes your heart and your discernment. Do not let the gossip make you their confidant, because the moment you share anything real with them, you become their next topic of conversation. 2. Never trust the friend who is jealous of your blessings. This is a painful truth that many people learn too late. Jealousy is one of the most destructive forces in human relationships, and it has been since the beginning. Remember Cain and Abel? The first murder in human history was motivated by jealousy. Cain could not handle the fact that God accepted Abel's offering and not his. Instead of examining his own heart and correcting his approach, he killed his brother. Genesis 4:5 and 6 says, "But on Cain and his offering he did not look with favor. So Cain was very angry and his face was downcast. Then the Lord said to Cain, 'Why are you angry? Why is your face downcast?' God gave Cain an opportunity to repent, to adjust, to do what was right. But jealousy had already poisoned his heart. And that same poison exists today in people who call themselves your friends but secretly resent every good thing that happens to you. How do you identify a jealous friend? Pay attention to their reactions when you share good news. A true friend rejoices with you. Romans 12:15 commands us to rejoice with those who rejoice and mourn with those who mourn. A genuine friend celebrates your promotions, your breakthroughs, your blessings, and your victories as if they were their own. But a jealous friend responds differently. When you tell them about your new job, they immediately point out the negative aspects. Well, that company has a high turnover rate. Are you sure it's a good move? When you share that you are buying a house, they say, wow, that's a huge responsibility. I hope you can handle the mortgage. When you announce your engagement, they remind you of divorce statistics. When you start a business, they list all the reasons it might fail. They disguise their jealousy as concern. They frame their negativity as realism. But what they are really doing is trying to diminish your joy because they cannot stand to see you elevated. Proverbs 14:30 warns, a heart at peace gives life to the body, but envy rots the bones. Jealousy is a spiritual cancer. It destroys the person who harbors it, and it destroys everyone around them. And if you trust a jealous person with your secrets, with your dreams, with your plans, and with your vulnerabilities, you are handing them weapons they will use to sabotage you. The jealous friend will share your secrets strategically. They will not just gossip randomly. They will wait for the perfect moment when revealing your information will cause you maximum damage or embarrassment. They will twist your words to make you look bad. They will expose your struggles to people who can hurt you. They will undermine your credibility behind your back while smiling to your face. King Saul is a perfect biblical example of how jealousy destroys relationships. When David killed Goliath and the women sang, Saul has slain his thousands and David his tens of thousands, jealousy entered Saul's heart. From that moment on, Saul, who should have been David's mentor and protector, became his greatest enemy. He spent years trying to kill David, all because he could not handle David's anointing and success. If you have a friend who cannot genuinely celebrate your wins, who always finds something negative to say when good things happen to you, who compares themselves to you constantly, and who seems relieved when you face setbacks, do not trust them with anything important. They are not your friend, they are your competitor. And competitors do not keep your secrets, they use them. Protect your blessings by protecting the information you share. Not everyone deserves to know what God is doing in your life. Some people's jealousy is so strong that just knowing about your blessings gives them spiritual access to curse what God is building. Be wise, be selective, be protective. 3. Never trust the friend who has no fear of God. This point is foundational and non-negotiable. Proverbs 9:10 declares, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. If a person does not fear God, they have no true wisdom. And if they have no wisdom, they cannot be trusted with anything valuable, especially not your secrets. What does it mean to fear God? It means to have a deep reverence for who He is, a respect for His word, and a healthy awareness of His judgment. It means understanding that every action, every word, and every secret shared or betrayed will be accounted for. A person who fears God thinks twice before speaking. They guard their tongue because they know God is listening. They keep confidences because they understand that betraying trust is sin. But a person without the fear of God operates by a completely different system. They are guided only by what benefits them in the moment. They have no internal moral compass that says, even though I could gain something by sharing this secret, I will not do it because it is wrong. Their only question is, what do I gain or lose by revealing this information? If betraying you serves their purpose, they will do it without hesitation and without remorse. Psalm 36:1 describes such people perfectly. I have a message from God in my heart concerning the sinfulness of the wicked. There is no fear of God before their eyes. When there is no fear of God, there is no limit to what a person will do. They will lie, manipulate, betray, and destroy without any sense of accountability, because they do not believe they will answer to anyone. In practical terms, this means you must evaluate the spiritual foundation of the people you trust. Do they live according to biblical principles, or do they make up their own rules as they go? Do they demonstrate integrity when no one is watching, or do they only perform righteousness in public? Do they speak about God with reverence, or do they treat faith like a casual hobby? You might say, but I have friends who are not believers. Does that mean I can never trust them? Not necessarily. There are people who, even without a personal relationship with Christ, still operate with a strong moral code, often because of the common grace of God or the influence of biblical values in their culture. However, you must recognize that without the foundation of fearing God, that moral code can shift at any time based on circumstances, pressure, or personal benefit. The safest place to share your deepest secrets is with people who fear God more than they fear losing your friendship, more than they fear social consequences, and more than they desire personal gain. Because when someone fears God, they understand that breaking a confidence is not just betraying you. It is sinning against the Almighty. They know that Proverbs 6, 16 through 19 lists a lying tongue and a person who stirs up conflict as things the Lord hates. This knowledge acts as a restraint, a guardrail that keeps them from betraying you even when they are angry, even when you have disappointed them, and even when they could benefit from exposing you. Do not entrust your secrets to people whose only accountability is to themselves. You are setting yourself up for devastation. Choose friends who answer to a higher authority. 4. Never trust the friend who constantly plays the victim. Every community has them. The people who are always in crisis, always misunderstood, always wronged by someone. No matter what happens, they are never at fault. Everyone else is always the villain in their story. They are the perpetual victim. And while it is true that people do experience genuine injustice and real persecution, there is a massive difference between someone going through a difficult season and someone whose entire identity is built on being a victim. Proverbs 26:24 and 25 warns, enemies disguise themselves with their lips, but in their hearts they harbor deceit. Though their speech is charming, do not believe them, for 7 abominations fill their hearts. The chronic victim uses their victim status as a manipulation tool. They have learned that by presenting themselves as helpless, wounded, and oppressed, they can extract sympathy, resources, and information from others. And here is why you must never trust them with your secrets. The victim mentality is always looking for someone to blame. Today, they are crying to you about how someone else betrayed them, how someone else spread their secrets, and how someone else ruined their life. They paint themselves as innocent and everyone else as guilty. And in that moment, you feel compassion. You feel protective. You think, I will never treat them the way those other people did. I will be the friend who truly understands and supports them. So you open up. You share your struggles, your fears, your mistakes, and your secrets. You make yourself vulnerable because you believe you are helping someone who has been hurt. But here is what you failed to see. Every single person they are complaining about probably went through the exact same process. They too believed they were the exception. They too thought they were the safe friend. They too shared their hearts. And now they are the villains in the victim's story. What makes you think you will be any different? The moment you disappoint the chronic victim, the moment you set a boundary, the moment you cannot meet their endless needs, or the moment you stop playing along with their narrative, you will become the next villain. And all those secrets you shared, they will become weapons in the story they tell about how you betrayed them, abandoned them, or hurt them. The victim uses secrets as leverage and as proof of their persecution. They will share what you told them in confidence, but they will frame it in a way that makes them look like the injured party. Can you believe what they told me? Can you believe they are struggling with that? And after I was such a good friend to them, this is how they treat me. 2 Timothy 3, 1 through 5 describes people in the last days as lovers of themselves. Lovers of money, boastful, proud, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, without love, unforgiving, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not lovers of the good, treacherous, rash, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying its power. Notice the phrase without love and unforgiving. The chronic victim is often both. They refuse to forgive anyone, and they do not truly love anyone. They only use people for emotional supply. True friendship requires mutual accountability. It requires the ability to look in the mirror and admit fault. It requires growth, change, and the humility to say, I was wrong. If your friend is incapable of ever admitting they played a role in their own problems, if they are always the innocent party in every conflict, and if everyone who has ever been close to them eventually becomes their enemy, run. Do not walk. Run. And whatever you do, do not give them any information they can use against you later, because they will. It is not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. Protect yourself by recognizing the pattern. If someone has a history of broken relationships and burned bridges, and they blame everyone but themselves, you are next. 5. Never trust the friend who flatters excessively. This final category is perhaps the most deceptive because excessive flattery feels so good. We all want to be appreciated, valued, and celebrated. And when someone constantly praises us, compliments us, and tells us how amazing we are, it is easy to let our guard down. But the Bible has strong words about flattery, and none of them are positive. Proverbs 29:5 says, those who flatter their neighbors are spreading nets for their feet. Did you catch that? Flattery is not kindness, it is a trap. It is a net designed to ensnare you. The flatterer has an agenda. They are not praising you because they genuinely admire you. They are praising you because they want something from you. They want access, information, resources, or influence. And the way they get it is by making you feel so good about yourself that you lower your defenses and trust them with things you should not. Proverbs 26:28 adds, a lying tongue hates those it hurts, and a flattering mouth works ruin. Flattery and lying are connected. The flatterer is not telling you the truth. They are telling you what you want to hear so they can manipulate you. A true friend will tell you the truth, even when it is uncomfortable. Proverbs 27:6 says, "Wounds from a friend can be trusted, but an enemy multiplies kisses." The person who is always kissing up to you, always agreeing with you, and always telling you how perfect you are is not your friend. They are your enemy disguised as an admirer. Real friends challenge you. They correct you. They tell you when you are wrong. They love you enough to risk your displeasure in order to help you grow. But the flatterer never corrects you. They never challenge you. They only inflate your ego because an inflated ego is easier to manipulate. How does this relate to secrets? Simple. When someone flatters you constantly, you begin to feel safe with them. You think, this person really gets me. This person sees my value. I can trust them. So you start sharing things you should not share. You tell them about your marriage struggles, your financial problems, your past mistakes, and your current temptations, and they respond with more flattery. "Oh, you're so strong for dealing with that. Anyone else would have fallen apart. You are amazing." And you feel validated, you feel understood, but what you do not realize is that they are filing away every piece of information you give them. And when the time comes when they need leverage, when they want to control you, or when you stop being useful to them, they will use everything you told them against you. The flatterer is often working for someone else. They are gathering intelligence. In the Bible, we see this with Delilah and Samson. Delilah flattered Samson, made him feel loved and desired, and repeatedly asked him for the secret of his strength. Samson, blinded by her flattery and his own pride, eventually told her the truth, and that truth led to his capture, humiliation, and destruction. Judges 16:15 through 17 records, "Then she said to him, 'How can you say I love you when you will not confide in me? This is the third time you have made a fool of me and have not told me the secret of your great strength.' With such nagging, she prodded him day after day until he was sick to death of it, so he told her everything. Samson's downfall was not just lust. It was misplaced trust in someone who flattered him but did not truly love him. Do not be a Samson. Do not let flattery blind you to people's true intentions. If someone is constantly praising you but never being real with you, never challenging you, and never showing you the other side of friendship, which includes correction and honesty, they are not safe. A genuine compliment is specific, timely, and sincere. Flattery is excessive, constant, and manipulative. Learn to discern the difference. When someone praises you, ask yourself, is this based on truth or is this designed to make me feel indebted to them? If it is the latter, guard your heart and guard your secrets. So where does this leave us? Does this mean we should trust no one? Does this mean we should live in isolation, never opening up to anyone? Absolutely not. God designed us for community. Ecclesiastes 4:9 and 10 says, "Two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor." If either of them falls down, one can help the other up, but pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. We need friends, we need confidants, we need people we can be vulnerable with, but we must choose those people wisely. Proverbs 13:20 reminds us, "Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm." Your circle determines your future. The people you trust with your secrets have the power to build you up or tear you down. So choose friends who demonstrate integrity over time, not just in one moment. Choose friends who fear God more than they fear man. Choose friends who tell you the truth even when it hurts. Choose friends who celebrate your victories without jealousy. Choose friends who take responsibility for their own lives instead of blaming everyone else. And choose friends who love you enough to be real with you, not just flatter you. When you find such friends, treasure them. Invest in those relationships. Be the kind of friend to them that they are to you. But until someone has proven themselves trustworthy, guard your heart. Proverbs 4:23 commands, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Your secrets are part of your heart. Not everyone deserves access. If this message has opened your eyes to relationships you need to reevaluate, do not ignore that conviction. The Holy Spirit is trying to protect you. And if you have been burned before by trusting the wrong people, do not let that make you bitter. Let it make you wiser. God can heal the damage that was done, and He can give you discernment to choose better in the future. Write in the comments, "I will guard my heart and choose my friends wisely," as a declaration of your commitment to biblical wisdom in relationships. Share this message with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to this channel to continue growing in the truth that sets us free.